Welcome back. And now it's time to take a look at the main headlines of our Egyptian dailies. But first, allow me to welcome our dear guest, Dr. Youmn Hamaki, Professor of Economics at Shams University. First of all, good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
Right, let me start by taking a look at Al-Masri اليوم. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met on Wednesday with Iraq's Foreign Minister Ibrahim al-Jafari in Cairo, where they discussed the latest developments in Iraq. The presidency said in a statement that al-Jafari informed al-Sisi of the latest efforts by Iraqi forces in fighting terrorism and recapturing the city of Mosul from militant forces. Doctor, so far, how do you read this?
This is very important, enhancing our relationship with Arab countries is essential for this period. Iraq is suffering from severe challenges in this period. On top of it is terrorism, and they are trying to combat terrorism. They succeeded partially to do this, but they need more support in order to address this terrorism. And we are in the same area. We are addressing the same challenges. From here it comes, harmonizing our efforts is quite important. Supporting Iraq in combating terrorism is quite important for both sides. From here it comes the importance of this meeting. At the same time, there is another challenge for Iraq to unify the country. So from here it comes that President al-Sisi stressed the importance of having a unified Iraq country in order to combat all challenges confronting. It's not only Iraq, but the all Arab countries.
Moving on to Al-Ahram newspaper. Russian President Vladimir Putin has informed President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi that his country would resume direct flights with Cairo very soon. This came during a phone call between the two leaders, where al-Sisi expressed the deepest condolences over the murder of the Russian ambassador to Turkey on Monday. Al-Sisi indicated that the series of terror attacks that simultaneously targeted several parts in the world orchestrated efforts to combat extremist ideologies. Well, of course, this will take us talking about, of course, tourism between Russia and Egypt and the resuming of the flights.
Actually, you are waiting now for long time.
And people were talking about what happened.
What about very soon? Very soon, when it will come, very soon. Because Egypt applied all regulations, I believe, and that has been actually accredited from not only local companies specified, but international. From here it comes that, I think that Sharm el-Sheikh is quite a secure area, and our country. The problem is about the image of Egypt internationally. All tourists that are coming into Egypt after leaving, they are mentioning that we don't know why the picture abroad is quite not reflecting the reality.
Doctor, what about the picture of Turkey and Berlin?
This is a problem.
France and
this
all
is a
these
problem.
countries.
Terrorism is existing everywhere.
Of an ambassador on air in a way that you can never imagine. Sometimes you feel that it's a comic movie, and still that no one is talking about the security in Turkey or the relations between Turkey and Russia and all of this.
Nashwa, this is
it's a political issue. It's not.
This is telling you that it is part of it is political issue, and this is telling you that what we are addressing needs multidimensional action. It's not just by condensing our effort into one area like Russia, for example. We have other parts that we need to diversify, market for, tourism in Egypt. We have China, Japan, and we are nowadays attracting Japanese tourists.
Actually, the Japanese used to be, is one of
from
the most
Latin
important
America.
segments.
We have to diversify our market for tourism, because actually we have the most important and very nice areas around all Egypt. So it needs from us more efforts. Electronic marketing, we are not using it efficiently. So I think not only to enhance the image of Egypt outside, and this needs a lot of work too, but diversify the market of tourism. This is quite important.
Right, moving on to أخبار اليوم. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi held Wednesday a meeting with Prime Minister Sharif Ismail, Governor of the Central Bank, Ministers of Defense, Foreign Affairs, Interior, Justice, as well as the heads of the General Intelligence and the Administrative Control Authority. Presidential spokesperson Ala Yusuf said that the meeting discussed the recent regional and international developments, particularly the terrorist operations in different parts of the world. And the Sisi has emphasized on the need for Egypt to continue its international efforts to combat terrorism in light of the chairmanship of the Counter-Terrorism Council Security. Till the end.
Yes. You know, I think that for this period we need a system of monitoring and evaluation regarding all aspects of our life. You know, first of all, regarding the management of the economy. What's happening in our economy nowadays? We are addressing severe challenges regarding the complete floating of, you know, the Egyptian pound without any supportive action that have been taken by the government in order, for example, to enhance or to activate decisions taken by the Higher Council of Investment. You know, the Higher Council of Investment had taken decisions, quite important decision, 1 month ago regarding how to enhance export promotion in Egypt, how to you know, encourage import substitution in the fields that can be produced at home in order to, you know, to alleviate the burden of the demand for dollar. All these actions, and on top of it is how to, you know, make a good environment for investments. Without studying to how extent this complete floating affected business, you know, several investors in Egypt are suffering from this complete floating. The competitiveness of the production has changed completely. The cost of production has changed completely. Nobody is caring about what's happening and to how extent all these investors can support themselves, and if they support themselves and address these challenges, we can be sure that the production and the GDP growth is going to be better, and from here, this is the only solution, enhancing investment.
Can we expect new investors while the current investors are
Yes,
suffering?
this is a problem, this is a problem. Despite that, and this is actually the crux of the topic, which means that if you have something that is quite, you know, affecting seriously the cost of living and the people are suffering from inflation, so benefit from the positive impact of this action. I am supporting quite well this kind of floating, but, you know, under condition. It's not, shouldn't be left like that. It should be supported by actions in order to enhance our capabilities to increase, you know, the supply of dollar or the hard currency, and at the same time reduce the demand for it. What are the actions that have been taken? You know, this very large gap between the post exchange rate and what we are having nowadays is affecting seriously all type of cost of production, and how, you know, you can, how this can be reflected on the competitiveness of production. Nobody cares about to how extent, what actions should be taken in order to support business and to address this situation. At the same time, you know, the law of investment about to be discussed, which is a good step, but at the end, how this law is going to be applicable in reality, which means that we are not just looking for a law, we are looking for enhancing the...
But will the law include something regarding the current situation? I mean, the law is discussing something related to investment in general.
Yes, the law is offering, you know,
but you're
some
talking about
incentives.
procedures that must be taken in parallel to the decision.
Of course,
of
which
the
is
flotation.
enhancing the real processes of investment in Egypt, which means that enhancing, you know, the penetration of small and medium enterprises, offering youth more opportunities to start their own business in projects that are feasible, that, you know, Egypt is full of opportunities because we have unexploited resources everywhere. which could be exploited in a very short period. And from here it comes, this is a challenge that we have to address.
Right. Moving on to Al-Wafd newspaper. Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri said on Wednesday that the trade volume between Egypt and Malta reaches 500 million euros. He added during a press conference with his Maltese counterpart that there are plans to increase the trade exchange between the two sides, given the short geographic distance between both countries. And I think related in a way or another.
This is very modest figure, 500 million euros, you know, is very, very modest. And from here it comes the importance to enhance our trade relations. I believe a lot of opportunities can here be existing, and it needs, you know, that we have to know the demand and for products to be exported, you know. This is how to enhance trade relations. Beside other options can be, you know, here discussed regarding the economic relations between Egypt and Malta, like for tourism. We have arrangements in order to attract tourism for both countries. I believe, you know, this type of enhancing relation with European and with the nearby countries like Malta is quite important.
Right. Moving on to another headline from Sada al-Balad. Head of the Suez Canal Authority, Mohab Mamish, received on Wednesday State Minister for Migration, Nabila Makram, and Ismailia Governor, Major General Yassin Tahir, as well as a delegation of Egyptian scientists abroad. All of them participated in the last week conference Egypt Can. Mamish welcomed the visitors and stressed that the Suez Canal Authority is sparing no effort in maintaining the waterway channel as a key economic lifeline for Egypt and providing hard currency as well as job opportunities for youth. And he pointed to the orientation of the Egyptian state to provide all the possibilities for young people to become the main supporter of the economy and to exploit their potential for development rather than being tools for subversive ideas. Doctor, how far can this...
This is very, very nice words to be mentioned, but actually, you know...
Like you mentioned also the small and medium, and we have been talking about it a long time ago, but I don't know still where are we from this?
You know, the problem is that this is quite important to have such a speech, but after the speech, what are the actions that have been taken in order to translate this speech into reality, into actions that may affect youth in this area? You know, we have to know what are the needs of youth in this area, what are the capabilities of youth in this area, what are the type of projects that we need youth, and what are the capability of, you know, educational institutions in this area so that to be prepared for the coming period. You know, what type of activities are we going in? Because we are talking about, you know, fish industries, we are talking about, you know, ready-made clothes, we are talking about electronics, we are talking about different industries that are going to need different, you know, capabilities of use. The big question mark to how extent our educational institution in this area can support these projects with skilled labor that are needed, because this is what we have to work for it. So despite that, I respect what Mamish has mentioned, yes. But you know, we need to know what actions are going to be taken in order to achieve these goals.
Right. Moving on to Al-Wafd newspaper. The foreign currency transactions after the pound flotation between 3rd of November and the 14th of December reached $7.9 billion. On the 3rd of November, the CBE decided to float the local currency and to raise interest rates by 300 basis points. And this is what we were talking
Yes, about. This is what you know, what I'm worried about is that we have been expecting after the flotation that some volatile period in which the you know, exchange rates and the real value of Egyptian pound, because the real value of Egyptian pound is not 19.
But let me
You know,
discuss.
$1 equal 19 Egyptian pounds. This is not the value of the Egyptian pounds. We have our calculations as economists. The real value is between 13 and 14 maximum.
But what
And
are
it could be
the main
less than that. But the issue is that why? Because there is still speculation. There is still people that would like to get the dollar in order to be traded, not to have their merchandise or to buy their needs with dollar. And this is a big dilemma we are in. So despite that the banking sector nowadays is dealing with exchange, despite that, still actions need to be...
What is the most important procedure to be taken, for example, if we are talking about such a decision, for example?
You know, the most important is to activate the decisions of Higher Council of Investment. If you are going to give some, incentives to producers in order to enhance exportation. So nowadays you are hearing, like you mentioned, that some investors are suffering how to get their raw materials and still some complications. To how extent, how to calculate, the price of Egyptian pound regarding dollar. There is now crisis in medicine in Egypt. For that, there is crisis for other products that have been affected by that. What is the plan of government to address such crisis? We are not just waiting till the crisis happened, and this is what can be called management by crisis. This is completely detrimental for any economy. We have to expect the crisis before it. When we have this flotation, we have to study quite well what is the implication of that, what actions, what scenarios can we do in order to address such crisis, and what we can offer to our producers to support them to surmount this problem so that they can activate their capabilities of production. This is what we need. How to inject some more investment in order to use unexploited resources. This is a big question mark, and this is a big issue that we have to concentrate on it for this period. What we are doing nowadays is to see the problem and try to solve it. To make the problem, you are making problems and trying to solve it. We have to predict what's coming, because we have a lot of experts that can do that. I don't know why they are not referring to right experts to have these expectations and to address all scenarios and to study to how extent what is the most suitable scenarios that can be taken, what policies can be followed in order to address such crisis.
Right. Finally, moving on to our last headline, Minister of Housing Mustafa Madbouli said that the producing factories in the new cities reached 8,473 with investment amount at 100 billion Egyptian pounds. And he added during his speech to the fourth conference of the Arab housing ministers in Saudi capital Riyadh that the working factories in the new cities provide about 721 jobs.
This sector is quite amazing in Egypt, the sector of housing, we are doing quite well in it, and it could be exploited better than that. And one of the important things that's happening is that, you need to expand, types of finance in order to support people to find their own way to get their houses. A lot of things that happened for the last period that is quite positive and needs to be invested. And actually, the Minister of Housing is doing quite well in that.
Right. At the end, Dr. Youmn Hamaki, Professor of Economics at Shams University, always a pleasure having you with us on the show. And still, we have more to bring you on our breakfast show. So let's move on to a quick break, and we'll be back to resume our breakfast show.